Well, my name's Mike and I'm one of the two guys that own and run The Bird in Northbridge. I met my best friend, we were in a band together years ago. And everything we did was based around music. So we ran a studio, we built a studio together, and then at one point, a few years ago, I asked him if he wanted to help build a bar. And he did, and lots of people got on board. That was really it. It was, I knew a lot of musicians. I wanted to build a bar for musicians, and then The Bird happened. And now it's a beautiful thing, but it's very different to what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be much more of a jazz kind of vibe. I think it's a pretty good venue for the scene. And the reason I say that is we get a lot of different people coming through, different genres, different nights of the week, and there's a bit of a recipe to it. We know what works well on Fridays and we try to make that stuff sit there. We try to do things like live recordings a fair bit. I think we're a really diverse population. We've all got really broad tastes, and it may not have been lacking, but once it was created, it seemed obvious there's nothing like it close by. I don't know if anyone missed it before it was here. I don't think we had identified this needed to happen. We just did it and people liked it, and that was nice. But there's always room for another type of venue. You'd go to somewhere else that had a distinct vibe. If it was cool and welcoming and seemed genuine, then. So I don't think it's not like we came in and plugged the hole. Maybe we plugged one of many holes. Yeah, we need more. Maybe one or two more venues within 5 k's of the CBD. And then somewhere good late at night would be great. The licensing here it's hard. If you want a nightclub license, it can't trade during the day. We've got such beautiful weather, it's a shame to sacrifice that. If we could trade for an extra few hours a night, that's 1 or 2 extra bands we could put on. So, showcasing what people are doing can actually happen. Everyone wants a Friday, and I just don't have enough time in my calendar to put all these bands on. It's fun. You meet a lot of people, and that's cool. When I was an engineer, I talked to the same 4 people every day, and about the same stuff, and you eat lunch at the same crappy lunch bar in Malaga, and people are friendly. It's nice. I've travelled a little bit, and I almost get anxious when I'm not at home now. I love my city. I'll still travel. Don't get me wrong. I'm not retreating just yet, but yeah, the people here, the weather. Even when the weather's shit, the weather's good. That doesn't make any sense. I have an idea I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that's trying to identify the things that divide us as groups. We have these titles we give ourselves that point out what we have, rather than what we have in common point out these things that divide us. Okay. People in general, right? So any place where you can sit down and have a relaxed conversation with someone, with a stranger, there's a good chance you might talk to someone who has a different viewpoint to yourself, and if you realise that they're a rational individual, then it helps you realise that people with other opinions are not the enemy, they've just got other opinions. And culture is, to me, the word culture is interesting because it just means what people are actually doing. So when people say Perth has no culture, so I'm moving to Melbourne, that means that person's culture is to abandon all hope and flee to observe what someone else is doing rather than do something themselves, right? So Perth is a culture of saying it has no culture. Maybe it's changed in the last 2 or 3 years. It feels better now. And people don't complain as much. And my mates who did move away, when they come back at Christmas, say they wish they were still here. But that's because it's Christmas, the weather's good and everyone's here, so it feels nice. I think that the city needs some low-cost residential. It's got all these businesses starting up, and that's great, but you need people living close by. because people are trying to move this Mount Lawley and Leederville business model into Northbridge. And the difference with this area as opposed to those two is those two both have a good dense hinterland of students, low cost accommodation nearby. That's why Planet Books can stay open so late, because there's people that want to come out. William Street is becoming really cool, and there's plenty of new residential stuff happening over in the city, but it's all like aimed at white collar. And they're people too, and they're great people, but I think it's important to make everyone included in a city for it to be interesting. So, yeah, we're at the start of something really good, but it needs to be, it needs to be backed up with not just the icing. We need some cake as well, right? Like, kind of thing. So, yeah. But yeah, start of something good. Yeah.